this is the IT guy CJ, and today we're going to be installing SoftEther VPN on Ubuntu 22.04. I have a blog post that I will link below that will walk you through all the steps with all the commands, but today we're just going to simply go through it to show you how to install it. So you can really install this on any Linux machine, Linux or Windows machine. But today I'll be using Linode VPS to install the software. So I am logged into my Linode manager. We're going to create new Linode. And for images, we will use the latest version of Ubuntu. You can pick the region that is closest to you. For me, I'll just pick California. The Linode plan will just use a 1 GB instance, and we'll label this we won't add any new tags, and we'll use a root password that you're going to remember, but it's going to be strong. We won't do SSH keys in this tutorial, and everything else looks fine. We'll go ahead and hit create. Alright, so this will take a few minutes, and you can launch the list console if you want to view what's happening in real time. We're going to copy this IP address while we're waiting. Load it into there. And this may take about a minute or two to fully get done. Alright, everything seems to be done. We'll go ahead, hit open. And over here is asking you about the host key not cached. You'll want to accept it. I'll pull the screen over here. You want to log in as root and the admin password that you made. First, let's start with updating the server. apt-get update and apt-get upgrade -y to say yes to any prompts. And this will take a minute or two. Restart any services that it asks you to by pressing enter. Alright, now we're going to install the dependencies. So we're going to apt-get install build essential apt-get install nettools, and that'll be for being able to install all the to have all the software that we need to install SoftEther, and then nettools for us to check IP configurations. Alright, so now we're going to download the latest version of SoftEther. So we're going to use the wget command, and we're going to just go to SoftEther's website, download, and then we're going to download from Windows Azure. So we'll use the VPN server. We're using this on Linux and Intel CPU. And you want to right click on the latest version and copy the link. You can right click to paste and enter. Alright, that saves it. So now we need to extract the installer. tar-x vzf soft, and then if you tab over, it'll auto-complete the downloaded file. There. All right. So now we need to navigate to our new directory, then install SoftEther. So we'll go to cd VPN server make. All right. Now we want to go back to our home directory with a cd cd space ... And now we need to move that extracted directory to our user/local directory. So we'll do that with mv VPN server /user/local. If I type correctly. There we go. Now you want to cd to that folder. Now we want to change the permissions in that folder. So chmod 600 space star chmod 700 VPN CMD, and then chmod 700 VPN server. All right, now we want to perform a final check to make sure everything's working properly before starting the VPN server service. So we'll use ./VPN CMD 3 because we want to use VPN tools. Check. And all checks passed. The command is complete, so we'll just type exit. All right, so next we need to create a systemd service file to manage the SoftEther VPN service. So we'll want to nano etc initd VPN server. So I have the configuration already on my blog post, so I'm just going to copy and paste that, and you could just check that out. Like I said, link will be below. Now to save, if you're not familiar with Nano, to save it, you'll Control X to exit the editor, yes to write that to buffer, and press enter to save that configuration to file. Now we're going to set the permissions for the systemd service file. So chmod 755 etc initd VPN server. All right, now we're going to add that script to the system startup with update-rc.d VPN server defaults. Now we're going to start the VPN service. All right, so you see everything's good. We have our public IP address, and we should be able to access it. So now we're going to go to the SoftEther VPN configuration manager, and we're going to set that up to be able to allow all the protocols. All right, so right here, I already have the server manager installed. You can go to Server Manager for Windows, platform, Windows. You could download and install this application. Alright, so it's already have it. New setting. We'll just name it SoftEther YT. And our host name will be the IP address. Leave the password field blank, leave all of the options as is, connect. Now it'll ask you to set a new password for the VPN server manager. Password has been changed. Alright, so we want to set this as a remote access server. Yes, we want this initialized. The virtual hub name, I'll just leave it as the default, but you can change it if you wish. We want to enable L2TP over IPsec. And the IPsec PSK, we'll leave it as default for this, but I recommend that you change and remember this, because you will need this for connecting your iPhone and Android devices. We want to disable VPN Azure, and we're going to create a new user. Pull this over. We'll just name this CJ, and we'll set a password. And you can add as many users as you want. You can go ahead and do it now if you like. Exit. We'll close. Alright, so now it's pretty much set up. There's a few other things we have left to do. So there is an option within the virtual hub to use SecureNet, which is basically a virtual NAT router that does DNS and DHCP. I recommend that you do not do that. It is horrendously slow. You may get 1/10 of the speed of what you're supposed to be getting. So instead, we're going to use DNSMASQ in Linux to do the DHCP and DNS. All right. So we'll have to create a new interface for SoftEther to use when you're traveling. So you'll be using this interface's IPs and then going out of the regular internet address. So we'll select the virtual hub that we have, which is just one, and we'll bridge with a new device. And we'll name this Soft. And then create local bridge. You may have a message coming up for using a local bridge function on a VM. We'll just hit OK. And the local bridge connection has been added. And you should now see this going to operating. All right, well, you're pretty much done with this, with the server manager. If you've added all your users, you already have all your settings for OpenVPN, ms-sstp, and if you want to use the ssl-vpn function, you will use that with the SoftEther VPN client for whatever operating system you want. All right, so let's go ahead and set up DNSMASQ so that you can get DHCP and DNS. All right, so we're going to show all of the interfaces. So right here, you have your normal internet address on ETH0. That's our public IP address. Our loopback, and now our new interface that we just made that does not have an IP address yet. So now that you know that you have that, so now we need to list the open processes with IP sockets and do not resolve the host names or port names. And I'll show you why. So LSOF space dash I space dash capital P space dash N the straight up line grep and capital all caps list. So as you see right here, system, and I'm not a Linux expert, so if I'm not saying things perfectly or the exact way, please let me know. But I believe this is systemd resolved is using TCP port 53 to listen for DNS requests. We need to stop it from doing that so that DNSMASQ can use that. So we're going to systemctl stop systemd resolved. Now we're going to nano to that file. Systemd/. And also you can tab over if you're typing something and you're on the last word. If that's the only thing that matches, tab will automatically open it. So we'll automatically auto-complete it. So now you want to add this line to the end of the configuration. All right. Again, Control X, Y, enter. All right. So now we will go up and we're going to start that service back. So basically it's this command. You can just arrow up and start the service back, and replace stop with start, and that'll start the service back. And now we should be able to install DNSMASQ with no errors. apt-get install DNSMASQ. Then we're going to edit that configuration with nano etc DNSMASQ.config. So we need to add a few lines to the end of this. So to quickly go down to the end of the configuration, as you see, it's 600 lines. You're going to Control/ then Control V. And that'll get you to the end. And I'll just copy this. I could have typed it, but might as well just copy it out. So you have your interface, your DHCP range, and you can adjust that if you want to. DHCP option of what the default gateway in a sense will be, which is .1, and then our server, which is our DNS server, and we'll be using 1.1.1.1. I think that was enough ones. All right, save, well, exit, Y, enter. All right, so now we need to edit the configuration of the VPN server again. That's not what I meant to do. And right-clicking, once you copy something, right-clicking within PuTTY will paste it. So we're going to nano etc init VPN server. Again, I'm not a Linux expert, so I do not know how to quickly delete everything. So I'm just going to hold delete until everything's done. Alright, and I'm going to copy the configuration that I have posted in my blog post because it's a lot to type out. Control X, Y, enter. Alright, so we're very close to being done. Now we're going to go ahead and update that start script again. Update /rc.d space VPN server space defaults. And then we're going to create a file, a forwarding file. Basically, this is going to send it. This sends a network packet from one network interface to another network interface that's on the same device or on the same server. So we're going to nano etc / I believe this is systemctl sysctl.d IPv4 _ forwarding. And then in this, we'll just type in net.ipv4.ip_forward equals 1. All right, exit, Y, enter. All right, now we're going to apply these changes. So sysctl space -- system. Now we're going to add our rule to the firewall. Basically anything coming in on this, and what I'll do is I'll just copy and paste it. Okay, so anything coming in on the 192.168.7.0 network routed out of our VPS's public IP address. So basically come in on that and leave out on our public IP address. All right, so now we need to install IP tables persistence so that our firewall changes do not leave just because we rebooted the system. Yes, I want to save all the IPv4 and 6 rules. Now, if we use that lsof command again, we should see DNSMASQ now uses port 53. All right, and our last command will be, so to save the currently loaded IP tables to persistent storage. So we'll type in service net filter - persistent save. All right, so now you can connect with any of your devices, Mac, Windows, Linux, Apple, or Android devices. For smartphones, you can only use L2TP over IPsec or OpenVPN. You do have extra options with the desktop clients. You can use those or the ssl-vpn that I showed you how to download earlier from the SoftEther download page. So that's it. That's all it takes to install SoftEther. Any questions? You can leave any questions, comments, suggestions down below. And I'll see you guys next time. This is the IT guy, CJ, signing off.